second chance in the game.
My name is Rico Marcelli, offensive coordinator at Cueva High School. I'm going to talk to you today about outside zone and RPOs with it. First, a little overhaul. I used to be a head coach at Valley High School here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then I've been at La Cueva since 2016. We're 38-11 here at La Cueva. First year we're 6-5. We were converting from a wing T team to a spread throw the ball team, so we had a tough transition there. But as we've gotten going, we kind of had some pretty good success. 2018 we were the 6A state champions, 13-0. 2017 we were the 6A runner-up. We've averaged 38.7 points per game since I got to La Cueva. And I put my contact information on here. It's marcelli@aps.edu. If you want any clips, slides, whatever you guys need, feel free to email me. I'll shoot you some stuff. Hopefully we can help you out. Love talking football, love talking offense, like seeing all these points scored. So this is our comfort zone. So yeah, if you need anything, feel free to contact me there, marcelli@aps.edu. All right, so we'll talk about outside zone. We've been running it for some time here, and we have many variations of it, but we've averaged 7.8 yards per carry on the outside zone since we've installed it. It's a great scheme for inferior offensive linemen. At our school, we don't have big linemen. Generally, our guys are between 180 and 200 pounds up front. We do have great skill guys, though. Our skill guys are typically bigger than our linemen. So it is a good scheme for our smaller, quicker offensive linemen. We have a lot of RPOs to build naturally off the scheme, so we do enjoy that. And we enjoy what that brings to the table. For us, it means a lot of light boxes, man defense, or big windows. So we enjoy adding the RPOs in off of it. We like the outside zone because it creates movement in the defense. We play a lot of defensive lines that are just way bigger and stronger than us. And with our outside zone, we're able to get some movement out of those guys and create some seams for our running backs to go. We do a lot of, we call it CAW blocking, C-A-W, which we say is controlled ass whooping. Our linemen are pushed back a lot because we're not very fast, or not very big, sorry. And this helps us with that. So we get pushed in the backfield a little bit, but we're okay. We want to get a lot of width and create some gaps in the defense. The other thing we like about our outside zone is good with a running quarterback. We don't always have a running quarterback, but the years we've had, the midline variation works out really well for us. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. It's great with a small offensive line. On my next clip here, you'll see our O-line, and you'll kind of get a sense of that. This is our state championship team in 2018. Our left tackle's 220 pounds. He was a grader. I mean, he was a really good football player. Lucky to have him. Then you get down to the guard, we're at 190 pounds. Kid who played tight end the year before conversion, never played O-line in his life. Center, 185 pounds. Great kid, fast, quick, but again, not very big. He is actually so small that he lost to one of our rival schools' wide receivers in wrestling. So our linemen are wrestling other teams' wide receivers, so that gives you a sense of the kind of guys we have. The guard was 205, and then our tackle was 205. So again, not a big O-line, but they're quick, they're good, and they're very aggressive. So we feel this scheme really helps them out a lot. All right, so the first variation of outside zone we're going to talk about is our midline read. Okay, so the assignments on that, our quarterback's going to read the one tech or the nose guard, depending on the front. Our running back is going to press the offensive tackle's play side foot, and that's really his read. So our outside zone does not always hit outside, and I think that's been a big change for us. When I used to run this maybe 5-10 years ago, outside zone was all about getting outside, and we did not have a lot of success with that. So that's the most important coaching point we have in our play, is we're reading that tackle's foot. Does the defender get upfield and set the edge? Then we need to cut it back immediately. Does our tackle hook him? Okay, now we can press it and we can bounce a little. So it's an important job. Next thing is for our wide receivers. Now, we're a little bit outside of the box here. Again, we have really good skill guys. We rarely ask them to block. I coach the wide receivers, and to be honest, those kids don't ever want to block. So instead of beating our head against the wall, we kind of attach an RPO pretty much no matter what, whether it's a pre-snap RPO or a post-snap RPO. We're going to attach it to that. We are rarely going to ask those guys to block. We'll ask our outside guys to block a little more because generally they're bigger, but our slots rarely have to block because they're just not very good at it. Our outside zone footwork, okay, is for the play side of the line. If it's outside zone to the right, it's going to be the play side tackle, guard, and center. All right, we're going to get really wide. We tell them to open up the foot, cross, and then by that point, they'll make their decision. We are always going to tell our guys we're never wide enough on outside zone. Our offensive line needs to be really wide, and it's a little easier to see on the clips, so I'll show those to you. But that's really important, how wide we are on the play side of the outside zone. The backside guard is going to communicate with the backside tackle on our midline variation, whether we're going to fold block it or base block it. And that depends obviously on the front we're seeing. If he's got a one tech, he's going to go ahead and call the fold because he can't get the one obviously, and that's the read. So he's going to fold the end, and then our tackle will go up to the weak side linebacker. If we have a 3 and a 5, then they're both going to base block that. Okay, and now we're going to change the read. Now the read becomes the Mike backer. Okay, so we'll communicate that on the line, and we'll communicate that during the week based on the fronts and schemes that we're seeing from the defense. So this is our first slide of just kind of how it plays out for us against a traditional split front team with a 1 technique backside. As you can see, the play side is running outside zone, so the right tackle, right guard, and center on this clip, they're reach blocking the outside zone. Now, one thing to note is we have a 3 tech on the play side, and I will tell you that at this school and what we've had, our centers generally can hook a 3. Not supposed to be able to happen, but because of our footwork and our dedication to it, it happens a lot for us, and you'll see some of that on the clips. The backside, since we have a 1, we're going to fold block it, and we're going to read that 1 technique. Now, if we had a 3, they would base, and we would now read the inside linebacker, the quarterback would for run. Here we have a slants attached to it. I'll go over that later in the RPO version, but all the wide receivers are obviously running slants there in that variation. Now, on the midline version versus an odd front, we are going to read the nose guard, and we are going to tell our kids we want to read the nose pretty much no matter what. A few reasons for that for us. First off, generally the nose guards aren't used to being read, so we feel like we get a clearer read out of that. Second off, usually that's a really good football player. I mean, generally, if you're an odd front team, one of your best D linemen, if not your best D lineman, is going to play the nose guard position, and he's going to be good. So for us, who start 180-pound centers, we're not going to try to block 240, 50, 60-pound nose guards. It's just not going to work out well for us. So we try to read the nose at all costs when it's an odd front, and those are the reasons why. So as you see, again, the play side is going to run the outside zone technique, and the backside is going to call fold. Against an odd front, we're almost always going to fold because of that 4-eye technique. So we're going to block him out, we're going to climb up to the backer, and we're going to read the nose guard. Against the odd front, this play has been very successful for us. We really like it. It gives us a lot of things to do, but I think the most important thing is we're not trying to block the nose, and it gives us a clearer read. When you read defensive ends now and inside zone and all that, those are good athletes, and they can make it very difficult. Generally, nose guards and 1 techniques aren't used to being read, and so the read is much clearer for us. So on our midline outside zone, we like to do that a lot. So we're going to get to some clips now. A lot of things are just easier to show on film via the clips, okay? Now, we'll dress it up. I showed 10 personnel, but we're going to use tight ends, 2-back motion, but we're going to run the same stuff up front and with our running backs, okay? So we're going to give the illusion of complexity, but it's all going to be the same for our offensive line and our running back. As you see here, our running back is going to press the tackle, and our right tackle gets pushed about 4 or 5 yards back in the backfield, so he knows he's got to cut it right now, and he does a great job of that. He gets vertical, gets through the seam, and we have an explosive play. This is a playoff game. That was a huge play for us. It's much clearer on the end zone. All right, we're going to read the nose. We had talked about this, right? And I'm going to draw on it. We're going to read this nose guard right now, okay? So that's the read. We're going to play side, outside zone this. Backside, we're going to get a base or a fold base on the call by the backside guys. So we get a nose right here. It comes upfield. We enjoy when they come upfield, right? When they come upfield, we feel like they create a bigger cutback hole for us. So the nose guard gets upfield, tries to recover and play the running back. He's going to be too late for that. And you see our cut. You see we get a fold call backside. So our guard takes out the 3 tech and our tackle wraps around. Now the end is unblocked, and we know this, and we can be outnumbered there. But for us, the reason this works a lot is we have so many RPOs that are in a C gap that those ends generally can't chase things down, or they have to be a little more hesitant. So he presses the tackle. Again, we talked about that call block. We call it, we joke around, we call that a controlled ass whooping. He's 4 yards in the backfield. I mean, we're not doing good over there with the right tackle, but you know, he has good footwork and it creates a seam for us. The running back gets loose, and now we have another explosive play. All right, so now we've dressed it up. You know, we're in a 2 tight end set here, wing formation, running outside zone again. And I'm going to go right to the end zone so you guys can see this. Okay, now we have an even front. So we're going to read the backside one technique right here. Okay, we're going to read the one tech. Same kid, ironically. Comes upfield, comes right at the quarterback. Our QB knows that that's a give. And now our running back's playing the outside zone scheme. Again, I want you to watch the left tackle's foot. As the left tackle's right there, we have some push there. They've maintained outside leverage. These guys have kind of sealed us off outside, and we harp on our running backs. When in doubt, get north and south. So our running back makes a great cut here. He stabs it. He gets upfield and vertical, presses through. You know, it's not a big 30-yard gain, but I wanted you guys to see that. Here we go. We got an odd front. Nose guard read, midline outside zone. Okay. As we talked, the entire play side here. So now we have attached tight end. Going to be outside zone footwork. Okay. Nose guard read, backside fold. Watch the nose guard here. Right now he wants to get involved in the outside zone scheme. You know, we've been hurting him with outside zone, so they're going to run this kid and have him play more outside zone. Quarterback makes a right read and pulls it. Sets our tackle up with a great cut. And this was actually our receiver playing quarterback. Our QB had just torn his ACL. I believe we're down 7 points with a minute left, a minute 50. This is a big play for us. He squirts through there, and obviously this kid's electric. I mean, he was a great football player. And now I think right after this play, we kicked the game-winning field goal that moves us onto the semis. I want to show that clip again. So again, the key, look how wide we are in the outside zone. Look at our center. He's trying to overtake this technique. He's telling, and we do that a lot. Our guys can get wide and get vertical there, and then we press it. Now we tell our offensive line on that play side, it's open, cross, and right here is our decision point, okay? If we don't have a defender on us, we need to climb right now. So we tell them open, cross, and climb. If there is a guy there, then he's going to get him now. That's his decision point. So once he's crossed over, he's making his decision. Am I on or am I climbing? So he does a good job climbing late there. We obviously get the cut. Quarterback makes the correct read, and we have a pretty good football play here. Ends up winning us a quarterfinal game. Now here's a little two-back variation. Now, one thing I'll go over is you're going to see we get a lot of this type of soft stuff here where this guy drops to take away slants because of our RPO game. We get light boxes all of the time because of that, and you'll see it here. Kid wants to play the slants, so we get a lot of light boxes and good run situations here. Okay. The beauty of this is you'll see they have a game going on the backside. This is one where we are able to reach, block the outside zone, and get outside. So our tackle, we do a great job handling this stunt, first of all. I mean, look at our play side guard. He gets all the way to the outside shoulder of the blitzing backer. We're able to hook this technique here, and now the play hits outside. And I want you to notice what's going on here is our receiver's not blocking out there. Our receiver runs a slant over here on the play side, which occupies these two guys. Because we're so good at throwing the RPO slants, right? They have no edge now if we can reach block them. So that is why we pair it with slants predominantly, is because if we get the edge, most teams are weak out there on the edge because they're worried about the slant throw. This is going to be a 3-by-1 outside zone. I'm going to go right to the end zone for you guys here. Obviously, we did a check with me type situation there. And again, so I believe this is the full variation outside zone where we all outside zone, and it's not the midline read, but we block out. Quarterback carries out his fake, which is really good, right? We have to read the backer. So right here we're reading 43. All right, we had just talked about, well, we have a 3 and a 5, so now we're going to read 43 as the read. Now, okay, we got a 3 and a 5 they call base. My QB knows his eyes go right to 43. How does 43 play the outside zone? He plays quarterback, which tells us to give it. And again, our running back is reading our tackle's foot. So look at our tackle here. We have him hooked. Running back knows he's got to get outside. And then the kid's electric. He's a good athlete, makes a play, ends up being a big 70-yard run for us. Again, this is one of the rare times we have our receivers blocking. You'll see that we are trying to block out here. Generally, it's not very pretty like that. But we did have a block call on, which is a call we can just make to the receivers. But generally, we're going to run slants or some type of RPO variation with that. Here is another midline read. Okay, we do not have end zone, unfortunately, here, but we read a 1 technique, and we get a nice pull read again out of it. Different quarterback. It's not super flashy, but you see we get 16, 17 yards on a nice QB run there just by reading that technique. Generally, our QBs end up giving the ball a lot on this thing, but at some point they get antsy, right? The nose or the 1 tech wants to go make the play on outside zone. We pull it, we keep them honest, it works out well for us. Here's a 10 personnel doubles. This is a state championship game, and this play pretty much sealed off the state title for us in 2018. Now, this is not the midline variation. We do have a full outside zone where everybody outside zones. We'd use that when we want to get the ball to the running back, or maybe we don't have quite the running threat at a quarterback. The end zone will give you another great view of this. I want you to watch our play side guard here. This is a great job by him. Look how wide he gets. And he knows right here's his decision point, right? It's open, cross. Right now I got to climb, and he does a great job climbing. Our left tackle gets a good block on their outside technique, pushes him out. Running back makes a cut. Again, the zone is not hitting outside very often. Generally, it hits him somewhere in between that tackle and guard spot. And that one sealed up the state championship for us. Here's another variation of the midline zone. We love, like I said, this quarterback right here was a very good player. Not the hugest run threat, but he's good enough to make you miss, and so he makes the right read. And we have a 1 tech again. So he reads him. Kid kind of gets antsy on the outside zone, get north and south. Good job getting down. This kid's about 140 pounds soaking wet, so we didn't want him taking shots. Again, we have a 1 tech, right? So let's talk about this. This guy's going to be the read. We're going to outside zone here. Okay, and since that kid's the read, we should probably get a fold right there. We'll see how that works out. Again, we let these guys communicate online. That's what they did. Now, we folded to the wrong guy. We kind of went to the play side, but we'll take it. It's a good read. We get a lot of these arm tackles when we do this. A lot of nose guards reaching out. Remember, they're not the best athletes on the team. Otherwise, they'd be playing D-end probably. So they're out of position a lot, and they're trying to make tackles that they're not very good at. And QB runs it for 16, makes it happen. We get a lot of man defense, okay, because of the RPOs, which I'll go over next. We get a lot of man, so if we can get through the first wave, we get some big plays. This is probably our best clip of showing you how it hits inside of the right tackle, and I'm going to go right to the end zone here. Okay, I want you to watch that right tackle. Okay, we actually reach them, do a good job. Look how far back our right guard is. I mean, we're getting pushed back big time, but our running back makes a great cut north and south right now. Gets it. I mean, we hit this over the A-gap, and that happens a lot when you run it. When we get as wide as we do, we create some seams on the inside. We get a great cutoff block by our backside our backside guard. He climbs up to the middle linebacker, boom, and then we hit it, and we get a big run. So we run the midline variation, where we're going to read the 1 or the nose, and then we have the full variation, which you just saw there, which is everybody's going to outside zone, no fold, no bases. We're just running your traditional old school outside zone here. And we communicate this all through signal to the kids, and they know from there. And we have a big play. So once we've done a pretty good job on the outside zone, one thing we hang our hat on is RPOs off of it. Really been running these since about 2012. We were joking around. It wasn't even called an RPO then, but we had a throwing option on these plays. Reason we love these is, we have great receivers and we want to get the ball to those guys. So we want those guys to catch the ball in space and go. When we do RPO, the O-line is a different call, and they're going to base on the backside now. Okay, there's no more fold, and there's no more full outside zone. Reason for that being is we used to go and let them outside zone it, but the DNs are getting in our face, and they're making that throw incredibly difficult on the quarterback. They're right in his face. He's trying to throw a slant. Became very difficult. So we base block that, and then it ties out better because now we're reading the middle linebackers, which is what we should be reading on our RPO game anyways, okay? We start, when we day one install, we get outside zone in, and we get outside zone in with all slants. The first slant, or the guy closest to a quarterback, is going to run a 5-step slant. Used to be 3, so you'll see some clips on there 3, but we felt that the timing after reading the outside zone times up better with a 5-step slant. The next guy's going to run a 7-step slant, which some people call a glance, but it's a deeper slant, obviously. We obviously do this so we don't want them on top of each other. And to be honest, the second guy's open a lot. Now, we haven't done a good job hitting it. I think we've hit it once, and it was a touchdown. But, you know, we want them breaking at different times, and we want levels created in the defense. We feel like the combination of outside zone with the slants creates an incredible bind on the defense. We get extremely light boxes because we're so good at throwing those. We get a lot of teams committing outside backers to slants. And so, you know, we can get, you know, 5-man boxes. We get 4-man boxes. We get 3 safety defenses. We get a lot of looks because we're so good at throwing the slant. And when we've struggled, we can't run the ball well on those light boxes. We like it because it's great against man end zone. Like I said, if they're playing man defense, which people want to do right now to stop RPOs, then those kids are running with slants. So if we do hook your edge setter, you know, you don't have anybody out there to tackle our running back. You're covering slants. You're out of position. You'll see that quite a bit on tape. This is one thing that we started doing about 2 or 3 years ago. You know, when you're really good at RPOs and you're an offset team like we are, we're not pistol. The side of the running back defenses tend to play RPO over there because that's generally where you read it. And so we get a lot of sitting outside backers, techniques to stop that. So we read the front side as well. And that's why we base it off outside zone. We don't feel like you can do that off inside zone because your QB's got to turn his feet. So on outside zone, we're able to stay square and we can read the front side or the back side, and we communicate that to our quarterback. And we've had a lot of explosive plays on the front side read because most teams won't sit both sides. There are teams that do that, but most will not commit both to the RPO. So we would prefer, you know, we'll read both sides, and that's a game plan thing, right? Or an adjustment in a box. We see a lot of backside defense. Hey, we're going to read the front side on this, and we're going to go from there. The other thing we do against man, if we can't win on slants, now generally we can because we practice against man defense and we have good athletes, then we're going to rub on our RPOs. We don't pick. We're not illegal like a lot of offenses. We rub guys. Okay, so we're going to rub on the RPOs if we're having problems with man defense. It doesn't happen to us a lot, but it does happen. And when we rub, it's an automatic throw. Our QBs know that. It's really not technically an RPO, but we want it to feel like it. The reason for that is we used to just say, well, let's run the slant and go or whatever because we've been throwing the slant so well. When we're not meshing with the running back, we don't get near the safeties coming up defensively and so on. So we have to mesh even on our rub game because it feels and smells like RPO slants to the defense, and that's what creates explosive plays for us. So now you see the RPO here. This is against an odd front. So you see now we're going to base block on the backside. Our left tackle is going to base block so that kid's not in the throwing lane, and then we're going to read the backers. Now which backers we read depends on the defense. If we have a 3-4 traditional team, we know that the Mikes are generally playing run all the time, so then we're going to read the outside backers because those are the guys we're going to get games from on throwing it. We have a man defense, right? Then we know we're going to probably read the inside backers because those are the guys that can play both. So we want to read the guy that's trying to play both run and pass, and we'll identify that to our kids throughout the week with game planning and so on. Okay, so let's go to our first clip here. So this is a front side read outside zone. We're running outside zone to the right, and we're reading the front side. We get a game up front. We get a blitzing linebacker to stop the outside zone. We bang a slant in there to the inside receiver. Now our kids can run after the catch. Like I said, we have really good receivers at our school, so it helps us. So we get an explosive 80-yard touchdown here. Big play for us. Here you go, read it again. Again, look, now we tell our kids, hey, if the play side backer blitzes, we're throwing that slant. Because We don't care if it's man or not, right? We know we got a good window. If that kid blitzes, we need to throw the slant. Now, we're lucky. We get both guys blitzing here. So we mesh, we flip our hips, we throw the ball on time. A lot of run after catch and slants. I mean, slants are good against man. That's what everybody used to run. You know, you watch the old clips of Brett Favre, and it was the hot slant, right? So we do the hot slant essentially out of the gun a lot, depending on blitzes and those types of things. Okay, I want to show you this even front now, right? If it's an even front, we're going to base block the tackle in the end, read the backers. This is the type of defense we get a lot of, okay? Now we have to determine, are they a cover 3 team, or are they a man free team, and we will during the week. But that depends on, you know, that's what sets up our reads for the week. Okay. Now this is the backside read. So we got a 2-high team with no outside backer in the flats. Okay. So we tell our kid, who's the first guy that can affect the slant? He's not going to affect the slant. It's going to be this inside backer right here. So what does he do? He plays run, we throw the ball. And again, good, you know, kid can run after catch, 25-yard gain, and really pretty easy. You see we based it backside, just like we drew it up. We're going to base here, and then these 3 guys are going to run the outside zone scheme. We do it, we throw it, explosive play. This is a pretty good clip to show you. We get a kind of an all-out blitz here. And so we've told our QBs, right, when the reads blitz, we abandon the fake and we throw the ball, just like your old hot slant. So, you know, we're on our own 2-yard line, and this throw's hairy. I mean, you know, we got to make this throw with guys in our face, and we do. And then when you do that, obviously you get an explosive play. You know, it's an 80-yard gain. One thing our quarterbacks, it's instilled in them from day one, they're going to have to make those throws, right? A kid in my face, I have to throw the ball. And we're not going to rely on our feet. Our arm is going to bail us out of those situations. So we drill that a lot, guy in the face, especially when there's double mics. You know, now our line could have picked it up better, but the bottom line is we've got to make that throw when both backers blitz to expose them for playing that defense, and we do there, and it's a big play. So here we've doctored it up with a little motion. You know, we call this our fly motion, but we're still running the same scheme. We're going to read the outside zone now off of the motion. Okay, so we get the backer committed. Again, we're going to tell our kid which guy can affect the slant throw. He's not affecting slant because he's not inside leverage. It's this kid. Does he play run? He plays run, throw the slant. Explosive play, get up and go. And again, generally we have slots that can make you pay when we throw it. That's why we get a lot of teams daring us to run. So now you'll see with the motion, again, we're gonna outside zone here, outside zone here, outside zone here, and we're gonna probably, these guys should base out here. Sorry about that. We should get 2 base blocks here. Let's see what happens. So we only got 1 base block. Ride, throw it. Now that's something we felt confident in, that we were going to be able to throw that slant off of that motion. So we're reading it on the fly, but our QB was told, you know, hey, we're gonna probably end up throwing this thing a lot. Okay, here's a play side read. This is state semifinals. This is a big explosive play, tight window. We get that corner blitz, right? And so now our kid is thinking, with a corner blitz, I need to throw this ball. Our wide receiver does a good job clearing this robber player, and then we get it to him. And again, we have great skill guys. This is one of them. This is a Power 5 kid. And he houses it, gets it to the touchdown. I want you to really watch the play side here. Again, let's see if we're going to outside zone here. Let's see if we pick up all the stunting here, right? And now we got the corner blitz. So our kid knows he wants to throw that slant. And we do a pretty good job on the outside zone. Abandon it, throw it, tight windows. But you're going to get tight windows, you know, and we're confident in our ability to throw in those tight windows and to throw the slants on time and with accuracy. Okay, here's a backside read, 3-by-1. So we're in a little tray formation. Now this is a great clip to go over because we get this technique a lot. We get a lot of these guys who try to sit and take away RPO. When we first started running these, we used to say, well, the read was to hand it, you should hand it. But then we determined that those guys are sitting with their back to a slant. They're not in position to play the ball. They're just trying to give you a read. So if we know a team's going to do this, we will tell our quarterbacks to go and throw this ball once he clears that window. And that's exactly what happens here. We ride the fake. He clears the window. We get the throw, north and south, another explosive play. This defense was the #1 defense in the state that year. I think they were giving up about 9 points a game. We scored 41 on this one in the semifinals to get to the title. Here's a little man defense, okay? Same thing. No, this happens to be a really good receiver, so that sure helped us. He makes a great catch, and then he was difficult to get down after the catch. And I think our QB had actually checked to this one. We give our QBs the freedom. He liked the slant out there. I think we had just a regular outside zone called. He liked the slant. He told him. So we'll let our QBs check and get us to this. And like I said, our guys are really comfortable with this because this is what we do. Okay, so we make a good job. We throw it, and we have a good athlete, gets a touchdown. This will be the last one of the play side read. And so we're running outside zone to the left here, and you see we get this walk-up here. Walk-up guy who's coming to play outside zone. So we really like it there, right? He's going to come up and play the run. We got man coverage there. We got to beat the kid on the slant. We do, and we're off to the races. Like I said, we're lucky to have good skill players, and generally when they catch the ball, good things happen after the catch. So we outside zone. They send an extra guy that we can't account for, so we throw the slant, and we get a big explosive play, touchdown. This is one we wanted to show you because of the sitting. These guys have, we're getting a lot of this sitting defense, so we'll see it a lot now. Sorry for the lines. There it is right there, though. You see this guy's sitting, but we like the window throw. And this was the game we determined this. This was the state champions from this year. They beat us in the title game. And we were down 21 points at the half because we wouldn't throw the ball. They were daring us to hand it off. We kept handing it off. We're getting stuffed. So we at halftime said, let's throw that. That kid's not, he's given us a read, but he's not stopping the slant. So we made that determination. Let's throw that ball. And this is the first play in the second half. And we throw it once he clears him. And this kid was as electrifying as we've had. He was fast, and he obviously makes a big play and touchdown. So that was kind of where it was born, where we're, hey, let's throw this even when the defenders want to sit a little bit. Let's do that. This is our only clip I'll show you where we actually hit the second slant. This two-high team, the safeties are getting ultra aggressive on our slant game. And it's usually the slot slant, so we hit the second slant now, which is a great job by our QB. I wish we would do this more. And we create another explosive touchdown play with the second slant now. And that happens a lot for us where teams get antsy, okay? And then I wanted to show you a give read here where, look, they're playing everybody on the slant. We got a kid there for slant, we got a kid there for slant, and we got another kid here sitting on slant. So our QB makes the right read, and he gives it, and they try to rally up after trying to take away an RPO, and the running back's able to knife them through and make a big play. You see it here? And look how wide our linemen get, right? This is a good play side technique. We're getting wide. We're getting a lot of seams. He climbs. We're getting explosive play. So we don't always throw the slant. We do read it out. There are just times when we will tell our quarterback it's time to throw it. They're giving us this read and we don't like it. Here's another backside read against some bell cover 3 stuff. Throw it in there. Another explosive play. And a lot of times this stuff is still in guys. It's big windows. It's easy, and so on. Now, when you're good at outside zone with the RPOs, you start getting RPO defense, and this would be a great example of it. This team has decided we had generally always motioned this guy over here and run out and run the RPO game. And so he is running out to play RPO. We changed it up. We kind of ran outside zone to it. So you see this kid is out of position. He's out there playing slant. And we're able to pop an explosive play because they're out of position. So, yes, we do get the defenses that will just run right out to RPOs, especially tendency-wise. So we have to run some tendency breakers, and this was one of them. And now, look, we don't even have to block the play side out middle linebacker. Look at him. His head's turned. He's going to run and take away slant because they've been telling him that all week. And our back does a great job again of hitting it inside. Tackle is getting his butt kicked. He's upfield. Guard is 2 yards in the backfield. Cut it, get upfield. And now at this point, we get our athletes in the open field, and that's generally a good matchup for us. So the next general answer, we get, true man coverage. teams that want to press us up and take away slants that way. They still want to commit 6 to run and play balanced outside. We don't get a lot of this because generally our receivers are going to be better than most defenders that they see in terms of a man type of defense, but we do get it. So this is where we will come with we will run our rub version of it, and we're going to automatically throw this, okay? 2 reasons we're going to automatically throw it. Obviously, we're getting a pick, so we love it. And the reason we call it an RPO or we tag it with that is we want those middle linebackers to play run. We feel like that gives us more run after catch options. So here you go. We have press man. This is a true man defense. We're going to come out here, rub this guy, rub the outside slant, and throw that ball on time. Our slot here does a great job. We tell him go up at his upfield shoulder, makes very little contact, chicken wing really there, just enough to get him off pace, and then we're going to bang that throw, and kid's going to run after catch. You see it from the end zone here. Again, outside zone on the play side, base blocks on the backside because it is our RPO variation. This also helps us with not having men downfield. When you really run a wide outside zone, our kids are not generally past that 3-yard line. There are times when it happens, but generally it doesn't happen, and that's why we do it off outside zone as compared to your inside zone, your power, and all your other schemes. Last clip I want to show you, again, another man thing. You know, we get man and we get safeties that want to play the slant. It happens a lot. So then our next variation, we're still going to mesh like an RPO because we want it to feel, smell, everything. We want to tell those defenders it's RPO slants. We want them to come up because they've been told that all week. So we're going to make it everything feel the same, but now we're going to pick for our slot and run them on a wheel route, okay? This is a state title game again. We're outside zone to the left, pick route, get the ball up and outside, touchdown. I was into about a 40-mile-an-hour wind. It was cold and windy that day. But we did a good job picking these guys. They generally don't run man defense, so we really liked our odds, and we hit it. And this will give you a good view too. So we'll be outside zone on the left, base block on the backside so we don't have a kid in our face. And I want you to notice here, we're running outside zone and we're throwing a wheel route. We're not downfield. I mean, our kids are well within that line of scrimmage, and they're doing just fine. So we're not going to get called for illegal man downfield very often because we're so wide. Good slot player, touchdown, he walks in. And then this gets us into our last thing. Okay, we got safeties committing themselves to slants. Happens a lot. All right, they want to come with stop. We're going to go to our 3rd level reads, okay, where we're going to read the safety now. Now, we're going to block this the exact same as we blocked our RPO outside zone. So we're going to base on the backside, outside zone the play side. But now we're going to key the play side safety. This is really good against your quarters, cover 2 teams where they want that kid running the alley, right? They want him running the alley, they want him taking away slant, and then they want him helping with the run game. If he comes up, we're going to bang a post now, okay? And we'll call it pre-snap, right? We won't have our kid side adjusted. We're going to call it RPO with a post now. Generally, we'll run some type of man beater on the backside in case we do get man coverage because we don't love that so much against man because we're doubled over there. But we'll have a man beater and then we'll have the zone beater. So we'll have a 3rd level RPO. We're going to read the safety. This is the state title game, and you'll watch their safety right here. We're in a little bit of a different formation with a little 2 tight end wing action, but safety's there. He wants to come up, but he wants to play slant. He wants to take away the slant throw because we throw it all the time. And now we bend it to a post, and we got a walk-in touchdown. We don't do this enough, in my opinion, and that's my fault as the play caller. We've got to attack these aggressive safeties more. So we're going to start doing that, and obviously we do it here, and we get to that 3rd level RPO. Really good play. Again, QB's eyes right here. Now his eyes are on this safety, pre-snap. He knows that guy plays run and plays slant, then I'm going to throw the post behind his head. And he does. He comes up to stop it, and we throw it over him. Now, we did throw a pick 6 on this same play. Kid jammed it in there, unfortunately, and that happens. But we do like to take advantage of those aggressive safeties. Okay, another 3rd level RPO. We don't see this a ton anymore, but those 2 safety defenses where you got an uncovered guy, we're still going to RPO. We love the RPO there, and now we're going to read the safeties, right? So we're going to see what this middle field safety does. Does he run over to take away the seam route, or does he want to play run? So he takes a step with the run. We're there. I mean, that's just stealing. And we don't get a lot of that defense anymore because of what we do in the RPO game. But if you're a team that gets a lot of soft zone, that's a really good play for you. Easy read. Let's see what that safety does. Let's throw that ball. So to kind of sum it up here, right? We're going to build everything off outside zone here at La Cueva High School. We're going to run the midline variation where we're going to read the one technique of the nose. We have a full outside zone, your traditional outside zone, and then we have the RPO version. We're going to tag those RPOs and we're going to call these, 20 to 25 times a game. We are going to hang our hat on this stuff because we feel like our athletes are really good. And when we make these plays, we're going to have explosive plays. And so we are going to hang our hat on that and do it well. QB's got to be patient. He's got to be a smart kid, and he's got to be willing to sit in the pocket and take some hits. We are going to get guys in our face when we throw the ball like that, and our kids understand it, but they also understand the way you beat that is with your arm. So generally, we don't start a really, run predominant quarterback because your kids that run want to take off in those situations, and that's not good in this offense. So if we do have that kid, then we're probably not going to call these plays as much. But generally, we do not have that kid, so that's what we're going to do. So like I said, we're going to hang our hat on outside zone. We've been pretty successful with it, and we have a lot of fun with it, and our kids and our wide receivers enjoy it a lot. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at that email listed there, marcelli@aps.edu. Love talking ball. Share ideas. You can give me some ideas. It'd be great. We're always looking to expand things offensively and try to get better. Thanks for watching.